The following program is intended for a mature audience. Viewer discretion is advised.
This I've got to see.
It's worth watching, so stay tuned.
Oh, gentlemen, welcome to Power 60. I'm Jeff Allen. It's Wednesday, May 19th, 2021. Love seeing you guys here. Lana's here. Bradbury, Piotrowski, Patrick. Yeah, buddy. Barry's here. Richard's here. Randy and Kent. So Power 60, gentlemen, is real shit in a guy's world. Polarity, sexual attraction, how to unveil the man that you want to be. And we've been going through Mark Manson's book, Models. And it's his first book, his self-published book on attracting women through honesty. And we're in actually part 5 now, chapter 10. We're going to get into that today also. So yeah, this clip from Jordan Peterson is one that hits me really deeply, but it has to be appropriate for the group. It has to be appropriate for the time and the topics that we're talking about. And I'll unveil that for you guys today. So yeah, like I said, we're in chapter 10, chapter 11. That's what I said. Chapter 11. That's what I said. Your intentions. Okay, your intentions. And Mark Manson says, all the way back in chapter 3, we talked about how vulnerability only holds weight when it's communicated unconditionally. In other words, that is, when you compliment a woman or express yourself, you're not doing it with an ulterior motive. You're simply expressing yourself because you want to. And by the way, guys, you want to is a good enough reason. In this chapter, I'd like to take that idea further. And he goes on here for a couple paragraphs that I curated. Men mostly communicate through facts, stories, and data. We discuss sports statistics, how we fixed our car last weekend, and where we plan on going next month. If a man says, I'll see you at 6 p.m., he typically means it literally. If a man tells you that he used to be the best basketball player at his college, you take him at face value, even if he may be exaggerating a little bit. If a man says he dislikes you, then it means he's not your friend anymore and you move on. Women, however, communicate more in feelings and more specifically through intentions. Sure, they still pay attention to the facts and stories on the surface, but what's actually communicated to them is the intention and the feeling underneath. This is subcommunication. This is why your girlfriend can get upset and tell you she hates it when you spend time with your friends one night, and then the next night she insists you go out on your weekly bowling league and not see any contradiction in her statements. On the first night, she felt like you weren't paying enough attention to her, and on the second, she felt secure with you and wants you to be happy. The issue wasn't actually your friends. It was simply her feeling valued. So she's going to see intention. So it's not much, it's much about the facts. Another video that I didn't pull in, I thought it was a little bit too much for our call here, but Dr. Joe Dispenza talks a lot about intention and, law of attraction, right? So the law of attraction as well. How can I visualize it? And then the key is bringing emotions involved as well. And that's what actually Dale Carnegie, so in a book, let's see, who was it that wrote about Dale Carnegie? Dale Carnegie talked about it's a want that you desire so much that it almost seems to encompass your life, okay? And we'll call that purpose. Nowadays, we call that purpose. And then the emotion behind it that you want it so badly that you're not going to be stopped in getting that thing. Okay, desire to want something so badly, and the emotions that you're not going to stop trying to figure out how to get that thing that you want. You're not going to stop the train on that track. And so that's where I want to bounce off of you guys today, okay? Do you want something so badly? Do you know what you want? Do you have an intention, which is simply something that you want, okay, and that in your mind? And does that run up against the world in a way that, you get confused? So the women in your life, or you're trying to live your life for someone else, it seems. So your intentions, your wants take a back seat. And you're confused maybe because the woman in your life doesn't support that, or other people in your life don't support that. And maybe you have trouble getting behind your own intentions. Okay, so do you second guess your own intentions? Or are you moving forward without letting anyone stop you, including the women in your life, or including the way the woman in your life talks about how she perceives that happening? I want you to jump in here. What's a win or what's a challenge around you going for what you want in life? Do you know what you're going for right now? And is anything getting in the way of that, including maybe a woman's judgment of how that's perceived? Okay, so do you know what you're going for? And is anything stopping you? And share a win and a challenge around that. Do you know what you're going for in life? And is anything stopping you? Okay, I'd love for everyone to go. So unmute yourself and come on in. Share a win and a challenge around your intention right now as a man. And is anything stopping you? Do you know what you want? And is anything getting in your way?
All right, I'll go.
Yeah, Lon, go for it.
You talked first that time. You know that. So I was waiting to see how long. I was waiting to see if it went 45 seconds. But anyway.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
A challenge for me is boy. How do I say this? I got my wife filed her paperwork today with the judge, so I'll be divorced now any day. So the challenge for me is basically moving forward as me, that I'm enough, that I'm worthy. And the win is that I spent about 20 minutes feeling like shit about it today. And then I reached out to Daniel Fritsch, and we had a good long walk and talk. And he basically just kind of said, hey, what's different about today than yesterday? And nothing, that I need, the thing that I need to do is look in the mirror, and that's the only guy that's going to make me happy is that guy right there. So I would say my win is that I didn't spend a whole lot of time rooting around in something that, should have been a shitty day. And the challenge is, how to sort of stay in that lane. So.
Yeah, beautiful. So that perspective of what changed from yesterday, is anything different from yesterday? Can that bring you back to the spot you wanted to be? I'm curious about that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I realized, for me, Jeff, I got, my mediation was 5 weeks ago. That's sort of the weird thing about my wife filing all the paperwork today is why the 5 week, why did she wait 5 weeks to file it all? I could, so that sort of threw me for a loop. I expected any day after mediation 5 weeks ago to get the paperwork. And I get a note from my lawyer last week basically saying, hey, none of this has been filed. What the fuck? And I'm like, I don't, I go, not my monkey, not my circus in a way, so that threw me for a loop because I couldn't figure out what was going on, if that makes any sense.
Sure.
So it just sort of I call it getting thrown off. It threw me off my horse because I couldn't figure out why she hadn't filed all the paperwork. That sort of got the monkeys going of, did she not like the settlement? Is she not sure she wants to be divorced yet? But, at the time, I just accepted the fact I was going to be divorced. There wasn't going to be any change of heart or anything. And that was kind of how I felt today. I was like, nothing's really different from yesterday. Yesterday I thought I was going to get divorced. Today I'm still pretty sure I'm going to get divorced. But I'm okay with who I am. And I'm, it's that term I like to use for myself. I'm enough.
Yeah.
So.
Beautiful. Well said, Lon. I appreciate it. Yeah, good to see you, man. Thanks for jumping in.
You bet. I hope I don't get blown away here. We do have a tornado warning, so if I run in a second, that's what happens. So. Gotcha.
Well, if you hang onto the pole and you're going horizontal, we know what's going on.
Right.
That'll make it a better video. So keep your video on.
Yeah. Right. Well, I'll probably leave. I won't click anything. So yeah, just make sure the recording. This is an actual tornado. This is a guy's computer getting.
Yeah, exactly. Get a million views. I got a bomb room
in the basement. I'll be okay if I make it there. So.
Nice. Right on. Yeah, good to see you, Lon. Appreciate it. So someone else jump in. What are you wanting? What's your intention for yourself right now? Share a win and share a challenge around that. I'd love everyone to go. Go for it. No pressure.
I'll go real quick before I drive home.
Yeah, Richard.
So for myself, a win is just, and a challenge at the same time, is just understanding the time that I'll have for myself soon and being able to enjoy that time alone, possibly, without the kids being there all the time, and enjoying trips to different locations by myself. Like I plan to go to the beach by myself here shortly, and it's gonna be different when the kids aren't running around, but I need to put myself in that uncomfortable situation so that way I know I can enjoy myself, whether the kids are around or the soon-to-be ex is around and stuff like that.
Yeah, beautiful. Practicing living the life that you want to live, Richard.
Yeah.
Nice, buddy. Very cool. Thanks for jumping in. Good to see you. Yeah, so intention. What do you want? Share winning a challenge. Let's go around. Unmute yourself.
Just call on. Don't know how vulnerable I want to be. What I want is for my business to kick off and to enjoy the freedom therein. And what is getting in my way? And I had a wonderful coach this afternoon piss me off. I don't know if he knew he did, but he did, which was a great thing. What is getting in my way is not being able to ask for help, and there are clients out there. I know there are. And I am not getting. They're not hearing it that I'm available and ready, because I'm not asking for help. So I need to get off my ass and do that. It's fear based. It's not wanting to ask. It's not wanting to ask for help. Basically, I'm that guy that will drive to Pizza Hut rather than call and order a pizza. So, it's a challenge for me, and I'm gonna fucking beat it because I'm pissed off enough to do it. So,
Nice. I love it. So, if you don't mind, another question. So, what's the story of if I ask for help, then blank will happen?
I'm not really sure, but it feels dangerous to ask for help. I mean, it feels like somebody's gonna hit me or something. I mean, it's that kind of fear. So I don't know if I have a repressed memory or something back in the back, or what's going on. I'll find it. I'm a good explorer of those things. But all I know is that it physically scares the shit out of me to ask for help. Like I can't breathe and all that kind of shit. So
Yeah, I hear you. So I'll play a little bit more for a second, right? So what's the exposure therapy is to pick the smallest things and ask for help and see if your penis falls off or see if someone punches you in the face.
Right. God, and it was just this year I actually directed a client through that, where they would go to the grocery store and ask for free groceries, or just ask for outrageous stuff that they knew they weren't going to get, just to get used to. I'm thinking that this guy needs to follow his own vice and desensitize myself a little bit. Maybe I'll just go ask for free gas here later on today and see what happens. Yeah, like I said, there's something there, and it's I think the more I bump up against it and push through it, the clearer it will get. So you gotta get closer to it instead of farther away.
Nice. I love it. Thanks, Jason. I appreciate it. Yeah, good to see you, man. So let's go around. If you haven't come on in. What's your intention? What do you want right now during this chapter of life as a man? Share a win, share a challenge. Anything getting in the way of that? Love everybody to go.
I was going to add on to Jason's. I mean, I'm right there with Jason. I'm, a year into the coaching business, and you get those fears. It's like I'm walking away from what I've known my whole life as an electrician, and walking into mentoring men. And it's like the whole business aspect of it. Okay, now I'm taking care of finances and accounting and all this stuff, where before all they had to do was go in and get a paycheck at the fucking end of the week. Now you're dealing with all these other things you don't know too much about. And like Jason said, sometimes you get so wrapped up in helping everyone else with their stuff, what they're going through, that you neglect yourself with the help that you need. I definitely know where Jason's at with that. So,
yeah. Do you feel like you're neglecting yourself in some way, Rob?
Well, just as far as, reaching out sometimes to talk to people about the accounting stuff with this, because it seems like overwhelming to me. Like before, I had to get a paycheck, get it into my checking account and balance my accounts. Now it's like, okay, now I got to do this. This is, all this stuff, with the PayPal and yada, yada, and accounting. Now I'm paying my own taxes where before it was just taken out of my check, all that kind of stuff. So it's a whole new learning thing for me where I got to start, leaning on somebody to say, hey, how do we do all this stuff? Before I find myself down the road, the RA's knocking on my door going, hey, you owe us $400,000 with fucking interest, and blah, 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 because I didn't know what the fuck I was doing because I was too afraid to ask,
Right. Yeah.
So,
yeah,
it's a
I
whole
hear
new
you.
world for you, and sometimes you're just afraid to ask because sometimes you're like, you sit there in the back of your head, well, are people going to think I'm stupid because maybe it's such a simple concept, but, if you don't know it, you don't know it. So I'll probably be giving you a call here soon, Jeff.
Please do. Please do. I'll tell a little quick story about that. As an aside, I went to probably one of the most expensive CPAs in Loveland here today to make sure I had all my bases covered. And I've been upping the people who support me and help me. And so I was there as far as that goes. But here's my quick story. So you guys, Jason and Rob, know Brent here locally, right? Brent is starting up a construction business, decks and porches, and he can do everything. He's electrician and whatever. He's probably not a master like you, Rob, as far as in those goes, but he built my deck back here, and he put in a change order for breaking out some old cement which needed to be done and laying new cement. And I know jack shit about construction. Like I know fucking nothing. I can swing a hammer. That's about it. If you need some drywall, I'm going to need instruction. I don't know how to put drywall up, but I'm sure I could fix that. But so he's talking about the cement and over here. And I said, well, I have some dumb questions. And because he was looking at me all weird, I'm like, well, do we need that much cement? I'm asking because I have no fucking idea. Like, I have no idea. Like, do we need cement over here? Do we need cement at the bottom of the steps? How many kind of pillars? And he's looking at me almost as though he thought I was testing him because the questions were kind of like stupid. Like, are you trying to talk me out of putting cement in? Like, he didn't get he thought I was trying to be manipulative or something. And I saw his face look all kind of like, why are you asking this? And I said, I like to ask stupid questions. So I'm going to ask a bunch of stupid questions and just give me the dumb answers because I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I just like to ask stupid questions. Okay. And then he was like, oh, okay. And he just, he's like, oh, these are just dumb fuck questions that Jeff's not trying to manipulate me. He just doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. Like, yeah, now we're on the same page. So I don't know if that's just me or if it's something I've practiced or if you guys don't do that kind of thing, but I just straight up say, I'm going to ask a bunch of dumb questions because I like to ask dumb questions. And then it seems to put the other person at ease. Same with my mechanic, and whoever. I'm like, I have no fucking idea how to do your, so I'm going to ask a bunch of dumb questions. So that's what I do. I don't know if that, does that make me sound dumb? Does that make me sound naive? Does that make me sound, like I'm incompetent? I don't give a fuck, first of all, but I seem to find out the answers that I want and people seem to help me. And, so that's my quick story about that. Brent is like, why are you asking me about the cement? Do you normally put cement at the bottom of the stairs? I don't know. He's like, yes. Oh, okay. Like, cool. I learned something.
I've got a quick story, Jeff, about that similar thing. I worked with a cat called David Hatfield. He was about 23, 24. He was working in a dispatch centre in the firm that I was with. And he was earning 200 grand a year. The dispatch centre was paying him minimum wage. I said, why are you working in a dispatch centre? You can only drink so many cups of coffee. I said, how are you earning 200 grand a year? He said, I bought a server and I hire it out for gamers. I pay the bloke $35,000 to do the work. I pay, and here's one for you, Rob. I pay my accountant he's got to save me twice his salary to get paid. And he was 25 in his early 20s. And I thought, shit, you're switched on. And then in the same conversation, he said to me, I was bidding at an auction on a house, and I found out later the other bidder was my dad, the bastard. and I just thought, what a switched on young kid. In 25, he had all these other incomes, but getting into Rob's thing, he was paying other people to do what he didn't understand. He just knew where the opportunity was.
Yeah, I love it. I love it, Patrick. That's a great story. And often the opportunity is what Richard jumped on here earlier. I was talking to Richard earlier, to do what most people won't do, to simply ask the questions other people won't ask. They're afraid to ask, or to serve in a way that other people are afraid to serve. Right? Yeah, beautiful.
I have a standard question almost in the thing. Is that the best price? The best they can say is, or you ask a question, the worst they can say is no. To your request, you're in the same spot. If they say, no, I've got a better price, you've got it because you've asked. If they don't have a better price, you're still in the same spot. You're not losing anything.
Yeah, absolutely. I started just to ask, is the price negotiable? And then it seems like the other person is on the hook to say no. Like they feel bad to say no, that the price is negotiable. I had one of my clients, you guys don't know him, he's brand new, he's out of Canada, has not been on any of this stuff yet. He's kind of, anyway, long story short, I don't think he'll be on here, but he started to act like he was going to negotiate with me on my price. And he basically talked himself out of negotiating with me. I didn't say a thing. He started to negotiate with himself. He talked himself out of it. And after all that, I thought I let him off the hook, which I said, I don't negotiate my price anyway, but that's neither here nor there. And he goes, oh, okay. And it like made him feel better that he didn't negotiate it with me, even though he wanted to. So he was afraid to even do what he wanted to do, regardless of whether I was going to do it or not. And then I said, no, I don't negotiate. And it just being able to say that, being able to ask those questions, Patrick, yeah, that's great. I appreciate that. It's awesome. Good. Who hasn't gone? Come on in. Let's see. Barry hasn't gone. Scott, Kent, Randy. Do you know what you want? What's an intention of something that you want? And is anything getting in your way? Looks like Scott came in too. Oh, there he is. Yeah. Come on in, guys. Unmute yourself.
Hey, Jeff. Can you hear me?
Hey, Randy. Yeah, go for it.
Okay. So, I've heard this from me before, but I want a better relationship with my wife. And, what probably happens is I'm just like a lot of guys. I just keep doing the same thing over and over again. And I have a hard time, getting out of my ditch or whatever to get back on the road to try to get there. So.
Yeah, thanks for bringing it up, right? And it feels like we get into the three buckets as Rob talks about, what we can control, what we can influence, and what we can't control. So what about the way your wife interacts with you can you control or can you influence that you want?
Yeah, when you do the right thing, sometimes it does change, and the relationship is better. But I need to keep doing the work and constantly show to her that I'm making changes, and I want to be a better husband.
Yeah, but I appreciate you opening your heart like that, Randy. Is anything getting in your way from doing those things?
Probably just me. I don't like to change.
Sure. I can honor that. Absolutely. Well, thanks for jumping in, Randy. I appreciate it. Yeah, let's see. Who hasn't come in? Come on in. Unmute yourself.
Randy, I think is the pain of not changing is more than the pain of having to change, and that motivates you.
Yeah, Randy, what would you say about that, Randy? Is the pain of not changing big enough yet to help you change, like Patrick said?
I agree with the statement Patrick made, and the pain of not changing, it's going to be painful. But I can see the reward if I do change.
Yeah, and I'll just add on, right? I think the scary part of that is, well, what if I do all the work and it doesn't get what I want? Right? That's a scary part for me anyway. Is if I don't know it's going to work, then I can like talk myself out of it, or make excuses. That's one of my biggest things I have to focus on is, why am I doing this? For me, like, is it really for me? And if it's for me, then it shouldn't matter what the outcome is. That's where I get stuck with that, Patrick.
I'm stuck in the same place.
Yeah.
My problem is 69. There's so many history and set in with a set of beliefs that are set, which are only starting to alter. So it's difficult, and I'm finding, and the challenge is, I haven't looked after myself. I've always been looking after everybody else.
Mm.
And at this very point in my life, I'm actually bloody exhausted.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, and I'm struggling with that. And I'm struggling with hoping things will change and things will get better, and instead they sort of get worse. And I'm struggling with the fact that the family's disintegrated, and that's not where I wanted to be, and I've got to try and manage that. So it's life's a shit sandwich, and it's always lunchtime. But anyway, I've got to put some jam on the shit.
Put some jam on the shit. I mean, that sounds like you and I should have a bigger discussion about that, Patrick, as far as like existential realization of why we're here. We can choose why we're here and all that stuff. I mean, that's half the time it's like you can choose the meaning of why you're here and what you're doing. Like, okay, that sounds great, but can I really, like, can I really just choose that? Doesn't seem like that's the only factor involved, right? And wanting to put jam on the shit. Yeah, go ahead.
It'll probably be a long discussion because most of my reading in the past probably 5-10 years has been more philosophical and searching for meaning. And I used to read 5 books a week. I'm not reading quite as much now, but most of it's, I don't read novels anymore. I don't read management stuff anymore. It's mostly, guess what come today in the mail? Lover, magician, whatever that one that you have came in the mail today. So another one, magician, lover, something.
Oh, sure. The book by Moore and Gillette. Yeah. It's okay. So, I mean, if you've got something off the top of your head, which, I mean, I respect you definitely. What's your thought now after reading 5 books a week and for years and things like this on the meaning of life and assigning meaning? You can assign meaning to life. What would you say?
Well, it's more about your perspective, and reality is what you perceive it to be, and it's the complexities around thing. But for me, material things don't mean a lot. Relationships and people. I care about relationships and people. And so the meaning of life is actually, there's an African saying, Yambutu, which means I am because you are. And it's about having a sense of self is generated by your interactions with others. And it's quite an insightful sort of statement in the way some of them live their lives. They don't, like a colonist gave this, young African boy a whole lot of said, if you get to the tree first, you have that basket of fruit. And instead of running, he gathered and everybody got to the tree at the same time. And he said, it means nothing if the rest of my tribe has nothing and I have it all. It's that sort of thing. I'm not quite naked and sitting cross-legged in a cave, but not far off it.
Well, I love it, Patrick, and thank you for bringing the joke in too. I guess I was feeling the pain of believing that, right, in your heart, and then the tribe around you maybe doesn't believe that, like they have a different, or she has a different set of beliefs around that, that it's not about the tribe necessarily, that maybe she, I'll just use the word she, was overwhelmed by entitlement, or within culture, she focused on something different than the tribe and the relation with family. And that's painful. And that, I mean, that's why we're here, right? That's, I think, why every single one of us found this work in the first place. So it's, I guess I'm just realizing for myself, that's one thing I can always be grateful for to my ex is, even through emotional affair, physical affair, I'm the bad guy. I'm not sure about him. You're such an asshole. You're emotionally abusive, right? Like through all that stuff, us being here right now came out of it. Like the job that I do came out of it. The direction that I'm helping and serving men, and you guys are serving men and connecting with each other all around the world, is a piece of that. And that's because I found Steve Horstman, and it goes on and on. I mean, it didn't start with me, and it's not going to end with me. I have no delusions about that, but maybe this is that tribe you're talking about, Patrick. Maybe this is that tribe.
Well, I certainly get benefit from the group. And if I didn't have the group, I probably wouldn't be here, because there's always an insight. And I've had some extensive conversations with individuals, which has been insightful. And I hope I've contributed to helping them. So yeah, see, part of my thing is looking after the family, and I'm a traditionalist because I'm older, and my dad come through the Depression, and the way he lived his life impacted on me because he had to get himself up and all that style of thing. And to find at the end, instead of relaxing into retirement, that I'm still struggling is because of my wife's chosen to do what she's done. It's a struggle. Style of thing. I've got to get my head right, and it's taken me a long time.
Yeah, certainly. I'm certainly not going to try to take any of that away by any means. I love what you said, insight, though. I almost feel like that's a purpose. Like, bring yourself insight and illuminate insight in those around you. Insight, inspiration. Feels like an awesome purpose and mission. Very cool. Awesome, Patrick. Thanks. Yeah.
The fact that others share their pain, and I was always the first series that Steve Horstman did when the 14 days in a row, when there are hundreds of blokes on it, and you had truck drivers, big muscly dudes, being quite emotional because the shit had hit the fan for them and they couldn't understand it and all the rest of it.
Yeah, absolutely. 100% agree. Thanks, Patrick. I appreciate you being here. All right, gentlemen, who hasn't gone? I think Barry, Scott, I think Kent was about to jump in. What do you want? What's an intention? Is anything getting in your way? Share it with us.
I'll share. Not to be too specific, but I've had an intentional shift, kind of a mindset the last few months, obviously the divorce being in February. But I'd say over the last probably 6 to 9 months of consciously choosing to make best of all the relationships around me, whether it's friends or my kids or, coworkers, things like that, is choosing the positive aspect of life and not necessarily, putting things aside and, forgetting about people and, not giving people time of day and things like that. It's just been little bits and pieces here and there, but I've definitely felt that, you talk about doing things for yourself. I think little actions like that, even though it's reaching out to somebody, a past friend or, college roommate or a family member I haven't talked to in a while, like that's really kind of helped heal some things and kind of given me a little bit better perspective on a day-to-day basis. I've been trying to reach out to somebody about once every week, whether it's, someone from my past or, someone here in town I haven't talked to in a while, things like that, whether it's personal or business or whatever, trying to become a little bit more in touch with my entire environment, not just work, kids, whatever little social life I have, not getting tunnel vision is what I'm saying. Kind of, opening up my eyes and making sure that, the people I do care about are taken care of, but trying to extend some relationships along the way.
Very cool. Awesome. Did you say what motivated you to do that? Was it just like, I'm just going to do this now? Yeah, I just want to.
It was just kind of a conscious shift in things I want to do. Honestly, in your relaunch, one thing was, create some new nuts. And then, one thing was reaching out to somebody, a couple times a month and just to check in. And honestly, I've had great conversations, and, it's good just to talk to a college roommate or, someone's in my wedding, for crying out loud, that I haven't talked to in forever. And it's surprising too about the news of the divorce already, how many people know. and there's never been one negative conversation about it, even though maybe I still hold a little bit of animosity towards it. And we're still having, learning how to create a new normal life as co-parents, but everyone's been supportive. So, taking that step and reaching out, to some old friends, family members, things like that, and just having a 5 to 10 minute conversation has been really good for myself.
Beautiful. Very cool. It's got to feel good too, to reach out and not trying to ask for anything at all. Like, you don't give a shit if you're not trying to get anything, right? Like guys that have been in sales before, you know what I mean? Like, it's nice to just call. Yeah.
That's a good point. And honestly, it's several years ago. It felt like every relationship I had here in my hometown obviously was based on sales, and I couldn't get out of the sales mindset when I was with somebody socially. Like, for some reason, I found myself, not that it was intentional, but it was like, how did I start talking about business in a social? I'm not here to talk about business, So quite a while ago, I really made a conscious effort to just be in a social atmosphere and, be Kent, not a sales rep. Like, I'm not here to sell anything. Like, truly learn about somebody, ask questions, be involved in a conversation, listen and learn something about somebody every once in a while.
Yeah. Beautiful. That's the way to do it, right? That's the way to do it, is be you first. If you can pull that off. I love it.
Absolutely.
Very cool. Thanks for jumping in, Kent. Good to see you, man. Yeah. All right. By the way, no pressure. If you don't want to go, just say, hey, Jeff, I'll pass today. That's cool. I'm not here to shove a poker up your ass or anything. You can have a woman do that for you if you want, not me. Jason looked over real fast. You see that shit? Not it. Okay, y'all. All right, Barry. I think, what do we got? Barry and Scott, not to call your names out or anything.
I wanted to go dead last, but I can't stand the silence anymore.
He held out. Scott beat you. Nice. Yeah, Barry, go for it.
I feel like I've failed now. Well, let's see. You have, I guess, suggested that I need to articulate what I want from a relationship. And so I started thinking about that and decided that I probably should figure out what I want from a relationship if I really want to be able to articulate it. Which I started thinking about that. And then I said, well, what do I really want in general for the next few weeks? And it just devolved into a big, onion peeling exercise. So that's a challenge. There you go. That's a challenge. Is starting, I guess, digging down to the bottom and figuring out where to start. Because I thought I had all that figured out a while back, but I've been kind of digging back through my early notes and saying, well, a lot of that's based on what I read and what I kind of gathered from other people's stories and said, yeah, that sounds about right and stuff like that. And some of it does still sound about right, but maybe it doesn't have quite the maturity that needs applied to it. So it looks like I've got some work to do going back through my old stuff. So now I've wandered off the topic. What was the topic? I don't even remember.
No, that's cool. That's cool. So, you want to know what you want. Your intention is to figure out what you want, basically, right? So, I would ask you to devolve it, to use your great word, down to today and simple. So when you say relationship, for instance, that's a big word. And with guys, I chunk it down like relationship can be many, many layers, many thin layers of whatever you want. One date, okay? What do I want in a woman to even ask her on a 30-minute date? What do I need to, experience or want with a woman to ask her even on a second date, or even to like lean in for a kiss, or even to hold her hand? Like we start with just super, super, and you're back to now the next 3 weeks, right? So be specific with us if you're willing. What do you know you want over the next few weeks? Just to start there.
Well, I've been on a kind of a tear recently, trying to literally go through my house and stuff top to bottom and just put my hands on everything and get brutal about getting rid of stuff. And I mean, there's like empty drawers now all over my house. It's crazy. I've been getting rid of everything. So I was kind of sitting back as my wife keeps asking me, why, why are you, hell bent on going through all this stuff and everything? And I kind of think I know there's a couple of reasons. One was, I'm getting to the point. One was because I kind of want to be prepared if I have to sell the house and get through it now. I kind of want to put this behind me so that I can start a little bit with a clean slate when she moves out in a couple of weeks. I think that's really what it is. I don't want her to feel like she needs to come back over all the time and get what she forgot. So I want to make her go through it with me. I want to feel like I just have kind of control of my own domain and know where everything is and what it is, and not feel this pressure of decades of junk accumulated that, I need to deal with if I end up having to move. So, but I think it's getting to a clean slate, just, getting to a good starting point so that I can, and so when I was thinking about what do I want out of a relationship or over the next few weeks, I was thinking, what I probably want is just I don't even want a relationship, or even to really think about that right now. I just want to kind of get to the end of, when she moves out, just not have anything to do, not even have anything that really needs doing right now, and enjoy that time of just, silence and solitude. And because, I've always got stuff to do. It's just constant. There's always something that's, that's needed to do. There's a list of things piled up, and which means that if she moves out, nothing's going to change because I still got all this crap to do. And so that's kind of where I ended up with that little bit of reflection.
Yeah, beautiful. It sounds like to me you crushed it. And Richard put, 100%, Barry. You nailed it, man. Patrick, what do you want to add to Barry's spot there? Yeah, go for it.
I think almost metaphoric, Barry. You're clearing physical space so you can have a clear head at the end of it. You're moving, so you're doing two things, and you think, and the physical action means you're moving forward. You're trying to articulate that within yourself, and it's at the end you're going to have all the drawers empty, and no work to do by the time she's moved out, and all you've got to do is think, and you've got a clear head. So I'm just interested. There's a subcontext going on there. If you're in a movie, that's what I'll be saying.
Yeah, what's the metaphor behind it as well? Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that, Patrick. So Barry, back to what you said so you want a clean slate. You want to feel like you're prepared if you need to move. You don't want her to need to come over. You want to feel like you're master of your domain. You want to be in control of your time and your efforts. I mean, that sounds beautiful over the next 3 weeks. But I'm not sure what you're going to say here. Is that not good enough? Is there something missing there?
No, I mean, that exercise was a little bit of, because I wasn't really sure, I guess, this has been going on for the better part of maybe more than 2 months of just trying to get things ready. I've been driving everybody nuts about it, I'm sure. And, it's still not going to be done when it's done, because I could probably iterate. I could start back at the top and work my way through the house again and probably, throw away another 50% of everything that's left, or, try to get rid of it or something like that. But, it feels like a lot of progress. It feels like, I don't know. No, it's good. I mean, you know, I feel like I've definitely have a feeling of accomplishment of some sort. I wonder though, if I'm going to come up to this couple of weeks and, you know, get her moved over and all this kind of stuff, and then come home and look around and go, you know, okay, now what? You know, it's a little bit of, I kind of want to try to create that moment of a little bit of a now what, not have, you know, lots of to-do lists in front of me so that I can avoid the now what even longer, which I'm sure I will make every effort to do, knowing myself. But I don't know.
Yeah. Holy shit, if you couldn't see, I was like nodding. Yes, get to a moment of now what?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, that we should frame that. You know, get yourself to a moment where you need to ask yourself, now what? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I think that's phenomenal. The freedom involved with that, the personal power involved with that, the getting to that point where you have the, you know, first world problem of asking yourself, okay, now what? Yeah, it's fucking great.
Yeah, well, so I've been setting up for the big question and not really digging too deep into the answers just yet. I don't know.
Yeah, because it's impossible to answer until you get there.
Oh, okay. I'd certainly like to. Okay, that sounds.
Yeah, I mean the silly
like
analogy I
put it
use.
off.
Yeah, have you been to Venice, Italy? Or you guys are aware of Venice, Italy? I was lucky enough to go to Italy. What was it, 2013? I think. I have to look back at my calendar. But so Venice only has bridges. There's no roads, and we have to walk. You know, you can't take a taxi through. You can't take a road taxi through Venice. You have to take a boat. But if you want to walk from one side of Venice to the other, you cross one bridge at a time. Okay, you don't need to worry about the bridge on the other side of the city. You're not there yet. You got to cross one bridge at a time. You can't sprout wings and fly. I mean, maybe if you're Jason Bradbury, because I call him a Pegasus. So he sprouts wings out of his testicles and just launches into the air.
Ow.
We'll save that for another time. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, well, how do you get from one side of Venice to the other? You cross one bridge at a time. So you're trying to get to that bridge called now what? Clean slate, power over myself, control over myself. Those are the bridges up until you get to now what. And then when you get to now what, then you can ask yourself that question. Yeah. Jason, I wish you luck in your dreams this evening, sir. Yeah, exactly. Barry, that was great, buddy. Thanks for jumping in. Scott, the best for last, baby. Yeah, all those other pussies that couldn't wait till the end. That's right.
One thing, don't go to Venice in the summer. It stinks.
Yeah. I believe it.
Mine is kind of like Kent. Oh, it does. I was stationed in Aviano, about an hour from there. It sucks.
Sure.
But mine's kind of like Kent's, you know, for getting back in touch with old friends, you know, people from the military, you know, that I haven't really talked to since I got out, you know, the last 11 years with my wife, because, you know, it's no matter who I would, whether add to Facebook or, you know, anything like that, it was always, who is that? You know, it was like 20 questions, you know, I couldn't ever just say like, well, it was somebody I was in the military with, it was somebody I went to high school with, type of thing. And now not having to answer all those questions, it's nice kind of, you know, just talking to people, getting to know them again, you know, type of thing, you know. Hell, a lot of them have had, you know, kids and grandkids now and didn't know none of that. So I think, I mean, that's the biggest thing right now is doing everything I couldn't do before, type of thing.
Yeah. Hallelujah. Absolutely, man. Is anything in your way right now?
No, I mean, really not. I don't know if I'd call it in my way. I mean, even still now, I've got to, you know, eventually I've got to get new phone, new numbers, new everything or at least a new phone, because even now in doing that and still in reconnecting with people, I still have, I mean, Rob knows my ex, but it's like she's got some crap in my phone to where she knows a lot of the shit I do or people I talk to, and you know, and I still get kind of 20 questions, and it's like, it's none of your business, you know. It's like she knows instantly, you know, who I talk to or who I've talked to or what I say or anything.
Oh,
I guess that's my biggest obstacle, I guess you could call it right now.
I hear you. Yeah, so maybe some spy shit on your phone or something.
Yeah, and I have no idea about technology, so I couldn't even tell you how to look for it.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
And I gotta have my kids freaking plug new shit in if I get shit.
That's exactly. I'll just go to my 17-year-old, like, help me. I don't know.
Well, hell, now it's my grandkids, my 7 and 8-year-old.
You win.
Yeah.
Why is she still interested, Scott?
What was that?
Patrick asked why she.
Why is she still interested?
Your guess is as good as mine. You know, a lot of it, you know, I get everything is good for days, you know, do what I want, everything like that. And then next thing you know, I get a text from her about all kinds of crap, either saying, you know, she wants me back, you know, trying all this other crap. And it's like, it's not happening. Nothing, you haven't changed at all, you know, and it's just, yeah, I don't know. It's hard to explain. You know, between all my relationships I've ever had, even when they've ended, I've always, you know, we managed to still be friends or talk or something. Never been mad or anything like that. But this woman I can not talk to her for a week, and she sends one text, I'm just like instantly pissed. You know, and it don't matter what it is. I don't know. Never went through nothing like this, so it's hard. You know, I've been through a divorce, but never, I guess, what's getting ready to be, I guess, this messy. I don't know.
I can't figure out why she's angry.
Well, I think a lot of it is that's another, it's weird. She's angry because I left, but you know, anybody, you know, can ask, and my kids have even told her she was the one that was wanting me to leave. But I think a lot of it is she just didn't think I would, you know.
I was talking about my wife, but so I can see what you're saying.
Yeah.
You know, some of my interactions, she's just angry, and I'm going, what the hell are you angry about? You've got what you wanted. Why are you so bloody angry?
Yeah.
It's probably a 3-hour conversation with Jeff.
Yeah, I mean, asking a woman what she wants and why she's angry is different than asking a man what he wants and why he's angry. I thought you were asking. But I mean, so I'll just put a bow on tonight for sake of time. Scott, I mean, I fucking 100% know what you're talking about being angry, just even seeing a text from her. Like, I felt like I walked myself so far past my own boundaries in that relationship that I was enraged about everything, just my own self and the way I perceived that she treated me and the way she treated the relationship. And it was just so beyond my values and my boundaries, which I did not know how to articulate before this work. So that's my fault. But it was all my unspoken beliefs about how you are as a person, as a relationship, as a human. And I didn't know how to stand up for myself. I didn't know how to talk about boundaries or values or any of this shit. So I was just so far past who I thought that I had around me. It was just so infuriating. Like that's the top level experience that I had. That's not really owning my own stuff and blah, blah, and all the rest of it, right? There's a lot more underneath that, but that was the tip of the iceberg for me. I had to realize I went so far past my boundaries And that was my fault, but that's why I was so angry, only with her, really. Yeah.
And I think that's a lot of it, because I kind of this, like, we've talked the same thing, and the last, the first 8.5 years, I didn't say much, I just I worked and I let her do whatever she wanted to do, and, kind of thing like that. And now the last year and a half, I've just got tired of it, and started speaking up, and she didn't like that.
Right.
And I mean, that's about the best way I could put it. She just thought I was supposed to, listen or take it from her or her friends or whatever anybody said. And that was it. I wasn't supposed to say nothing. She could say whatever she wanted, and I'm not supposed to say a word.
Right. And the unfortunate, I'm talking to myself here, is we trained them that way. We trained them what we expected, or we just had hands off the wheel and the fucking wheel went wherever. We trained them that was the way we were. And then when the plane crashed into the mountain and we're trying to be different, they know us from the last 8 years or 10 years or 20 years or however many years.
Yeah.
Right. So, yeah. And I mean, the simple narrative that I had to live by, and I told someone else this week too, was I'm no longer the bad guy in this story. I'm no longer going to be the bad guy in this story. Like, she can think whatever she wants, but I'm not playing into that. Like, I may walk into if I walked onto a set of a TV show and they tried to hand me the script, okay, here's what's going to happen in this scene, and you're going to be the bad guy. And I'm just like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to say those lines. I'm not going to stand where you want me to stand. I'm not going to have a fight with the person you want me to have a fight with. I'm just not doing that. That was the whole shift I had to do. And it's not easy, because everyone's like, come on, be the bad guy. Come on, be in the scene. We know you. This is what you've done for 10 years or whatever. It's like, not doing that anymore. This is the way I'm living my life now. I just had to live by that mantra, basically. I told my ex that I'm not the bad guy. I'm not going to be the bad guy anymore. That's where I got to.
Yeah, well, like, that's kind of what I'm gonna have to get. I mean, it's, I'm the asshole, but
right, I hear you. She was called me an asshole too. Yeah, Rob, you want to jump in?
Yeah, and I was going to say, I don't know if you have or not, Scott. I haven't looked in a while. I told Scott a while back, I just stopped following his wife on Facebook a few years ago, because she would always go on there and vent all her stuff on Facebook, almost like shaming, and all their girlfriends would jump on, you go girl, blah, 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 but that, if Scott was seeing all that stuff, that takes a toll on him. It's like the biggest shaming tactic around it. Put it out there on social media and have everybody jumping on, going, yeah, we're on your side. And, I could see, where a lot of this came from, and I was like, I can't sit there and watch, so.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to put on the table tonight, Scott? Good to see you, man.
No, I'm good, man. Appreciate it.
Fantastic. Yeah, thanks for jumping in. So let me wrap this all back to real quick. If you have to run, that's cool. I'll take 2 more minutes of your time. If you want to watch the video, it's 90 seconds long. So to wrap back to Mark Manson was talking about women look at intentions and feelings. Okay, we talk about facts, and you normally believe the man right off when he tells you a story if you trust him, right? But women go off of the intentions and the feelings in the moment. And here's my point, guys. If you don't know your intentions and the way you want to feel in the moment, she won't feel guided by you. If you don't know your intention and how you want to feel, the intention, at least, the banks of the river, she won't feel safe to pour her femininity into your banks, into your masculinity, because she won't feel guided by you. She wants to feel guided through intention and feeling. And that's just what we talked about for an hour, right? Not the flap your pumpkin pie hole like mine. I love pumpkin pie. It's your intention and your feeling. So with that in mind, Jordan Peterson is going to use the word God here, and he talks about spiritual texts in the Bible, and he's talked about these things for a long time. So this is a little bit out of context. And whether you use the word universe or your fate or your intention or what you want or legacy or whatever words you use, okay, I want you to, if God, whatever word you want to use, I want you to look past that word if that's not what you believe. But here's 90 seconds from Jordan Peterson off. It's kind of a mashup. It's a cool compilation, but I'm not sure where he found this suit. Let me know if you'd wear this suit.
Bottom isn't a weekend retreat. It's not a goddamn seminar. Stop trying to control everything and just let go.
You can think of God as an ineffable representation of the highest possible value. That's what monotheists presume. They don't presume God's nameable, and even the Israelites presumed that God wasn't nameable. It's ineffable, but it's the ultimate value, whatever the ultimate value is. You don't know what it is, but you kind of have some idea. And the idea of offering yourself up as a sacrifice to God is the same thing as determining that your life will be guided by unshakable commitment to the highest good. And what that means is that it's no longer your state that's in charge, or it's no longer your ego that's in charge. It's not even you that's in charge. It means that your conversations with people are no longer going to be about convincing them that your viewpoint is right. It means that what your conversation is going to be about in your speech is about attempting to represent what you believe to be true in the most concise and clear possible manner, no matter what. And then you do that by noticing very carefully and attending to what constitutes the truth. And then you let that take you wherever it will go. And that's the sacrifice of self to God.
So decide what that bigger truth is for you. And we talked an hour about that intention. So if the biggest truth for you is to want to move toward a blank slate, that's what you speak your truth toward. So it's beyond you. That's why this is so important. Whether you use the word purpose or mission or intention or whatever word you want to use. And he said ineffable, so it's unspoken. You cannot speak it. You have to feel it. And whatever that is, it's got to be just beyond you. And every single man here wants that. It's a matter of, all right, how do we bring it from the abyss into, articulation, into feeling and intention? That's what I want for you guys. Like, what do I fucking want? How do I say that? And how do I get that? That's my mission with you guys. And if that's just connection from tribe, awesome connection with tribe all over the world, or to help you clarify things, or, just to give you a space to dump stuff on the table. We don't always have to fix it. Like, that's what I'm here for. I love you guys. You guys are fantastic. Jason, Rob, I appreciate you guys are awesome. We are hosting a retreat end of August here, 2021, here in Colorado. We're gonna do mountain high, cool shit. More to come on that. Jason or Rob, I'm not sure who's going to cover for me next week. Next week, I'm not doing programming. It's the last week of the month, so I don't do programming that week. So these guys can have a fist fight. Maybe it's like pay-per-view. Can have a fist fight over this. No, not really. It's just a dick match. Just whip it out, and never mind. That's another way to do it too. Kent's like, I want to be in that contest. Anyway, guys, appreciate you. Patrick, thanks for coming on. Lon, you're the man. Let's see who else is. Scott, I appreciate it. Richard, Kent, Barry, you guys are fantastic. See you next week. Ciao, guys.